The Central Arkansas Veterans Healthcare System is a health system that serves veterans that have served for our country to give us freedom. Once a year, they have a week during February called the National Salute to Veterans Week, where they give a big thank you and show honor through all of the services that the voluntary organization there does. I completed 4 hours of service experience at the North Little Rock VA Hospital, doing a Sweetheart Luncheon and a Veterans Bingo. I acknowledge this work is my own. Based on the service experience, I hope to connect the communication principles, concepts, and ethical implications to the service experience. First, I'll tell my service story. Second, I'll connect the concepts, principles with the service that I did and the communication that was involved. And then third, I'll give a couple of recommendations and implications that could improve my communication or the community itself. First is the service story and the mission and how it relates. The mission is stated on the littlerock.va.gov website, which was created by the Department of Veterans Affairs in 2015. And the mission is to show honor to the veterans, to provide exceptional health care, and improve the well-being. My service story starts at the gym at the North Little Rock VA, which is where the Sweetheart Luncheon and the Veterans Bingo took place. The people that were involved were the volunteers, the veterans, our volunteer supervisor, her name is Alex, and the sorority, one of the sorority groups from Morrilton. What I did there was the Veterans Bingo, the Sweetheart Luncheon. I wheeled veterans from their rooms to the gym. I also cleaned up afterwards, after the experiences, and I handed out prizes for the bingo. The service connects with the organization's mission because I was able to provide and help with an environment that would allow extra human contact and communications. Most of the time, veterans are in their hospital rooms, so they don't really get to connect with anyone except for the nurses. Second, I will describe 2 communication concepts and 1 communication principle. The communication concept from Lane, Abigail, and Gooch 2014, one of them is transactions, and the definition for transactions is face-to-face interactions. The example from my experience is between a bingo man and a veteran. There was a veteran that kept calling out a specific number and letter that he really wanted, but the bingo went through the whole time, and then at the very end, he still hadn't won. So the bingo man called out the number and letter without actually grabbing a letter and number from the scrambling machine. He gave the veteran what he hoped for, what he expressed, what he communicated, and it just showed that he listened and that there was a transaction going on between the two. The second concept that relates to my experience is civil listening. The example from my service would be right before the Sweetheart Luncheon, when we didn't really have anything going on as far as the volunteers. We got in a group and we expressed why we were there, why we were volunteering, what our backgrounds were. Some of the people were nurses, some were retired veterans, some were from a sorority group, but we all had the same purpose, the same goal and interest, and that was to serve the veterans and honor them and say thank you to them. The definition, according to the Lane, Abigail, and Gooch 2014, would be listening with the belief in the quality of people. The third, the communication, recommendation, and implication, that relates to my service experience would be empathy, which is the communication concept, and caring with grace, the civil and ethical implication. According to Lane, Abigail, and Gooch 2014, empathy is connecting with someone while you're communicating with them, trying to understand how they feel and how they think and what they're going through. An example from my service would be when I was wheeling a veteran to his hospital room. He struck up a conversation about hunting and fishing, which I've been super busy lately with school. I haven't been hunting and fishing very often recently, but I told him that I do love to hunt and fish. And we talked about that until I got him to his floor. He wanted to go to the day room instead of his bedroom, which that made me just think that he was kind of lonely, and I tried to connect with him through empathy. And then the caring with grace for the civical and ethical implication. According to the Survival Guide, UALR 2017, that would be trying to meet the needs of the people. For caring with grace, basically how it could improve the community is if they were able to connect with the veterans, like I was able to go and volunteer, if they were able to show their appreciation and their gratitude and service and compassion and just talk with them. And then to sum it all up, the organization, Central Arkansas Veterans Healthcare System, does everything it can to serve the veterans. I connected my service story with the communication concepts, principles, and implications. And it's just really important to get out there and make a difference in the world. And communication is one of the steps to do that. If you can communicate good with other people, then you can make an impact in their lives.
Done.